Welcome to another episode of The People Ask About Web3. Today, we are going to be talking with Valera, who is the CEO of Win-Win Software. We're going to be talking about something that everybody should be thinking about, everybody that wants to build something in the Web3 space. The Web3 space is becoming the new Web2, and learning how to build Web3 platforms is fundamental and crucial, but most importantly is in high demand and in high rise of job opportunities. So it's it's a really good time to get a job in the Web 3.0 space, and Valera is gonna tell us some methods and some ways of how we can get into the Web 3.0 space without wasting time on doing it by ourselves or reading maybe guides that haven't been really authenticated by an expert or by someone like Valera. But maybe I'll just introduce myself for the listeners, and then you can introduce yourself, and then we can kick off the show. Awesome. My name is Gregor, and I will be the host today. I'm the CEO of Parallel Office. Parallel Office is a metaverse company. We create VR spaces in the metaverse for companies to meet and work. And this show is all about demystifying Web3 subjects. And what better way of demystifying Web3 subjects than becoming a Web3 developer? Valera, to you, if you would like to introduce yourself, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, Gregor. Thank you very much for invitation. I'm glad to be there. So yeah, my name is Valera. I'm a CTO and CEO and co-founder of Win-Win Software Solutions company. We are focusing on outsource software development. The main area it's blockchain, Web3 development. So yeah, we develop play to earn games, integrate with NFTs, and also DeFi projects. Additionally, we have a good experience in enterprise software development, but now we are focusing on this new feature on this Web3.
So you guys started originally as a Web 2 company and transitioned into Web 3 space. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So how does this transition happen? What needs to happen with kind of the things that you learn and with maybe the tools that you use? What changes?
Yeah, it happens 4 years ago, or maybe even 5 years ago, and that time it was a boom about this ICO things, and we wanted to participate in this, and that time we built My Wish project. I was a CTO. Now I left this project, but it was built upon our company because the most our developments was transferred to this area. So they will transfer it from this Web 2 to Web 3 software development.
Understand. And just to add a little bit more onto this, I want to ask you, what are the, from a developer point of view, what changes, what kind of, let's say you're a developer already in the Web 2 space, what new things do you have to learn to get into Web 3?
Yeah, first of all, we need to split this Web 3 development to two parts because there is a front end and back end parts as always. And
Yes.
the front end, it's a website, it's how user interact with our application, our software, and the back side.
So just a question. So the front side doesn't change, right?
No, it has some. How to say it? Yeah, it doesn't change in commonly, but you need to know some more information about how to interact with blockchain. So at least you should be like a user. You need to know how to manipulate with your assets in the blockchain, how to use wallet, and of course you need to understand how to integrate your website with this Web3 API, and with wallet tool. And I think you need to understand the core concepts of blockchain, of cryptocurrencies.
So those are a must if you want to get into Web3, right? It sounds pretty much straightforward. If you want to get into Web3, you must understand the concepts of the crypto, of what crypto is, how it works, how the blockchain basically works. That it's a database, a decentralized database. What are some of the, let's say I am a new developer and I want to start learning Web3. What should be the first thing that I do?
I think firstly you need to go deeper in Web2 because you need to know some front-end framework. For example, we use Angular in our software, but it might be React Native, Vue, or something else.
What would you recommend for the front end to learn?
My recommendation is Angular, but Angular, as I understand, it's a little bit harder to start from Angular rather than to start from React Native. But I think Angular gives you much more tools, much more strict. How to say? It's better framework because it has more strict structure, and initially it's difficult, but then you will be working in the right direction. You will be educated in right direction.
Okay, so you invest a little bit more time in learning it, but in the long run, it has the benefits because the code will be more structured.
Yeah, it's my opinion. I know that it's like
absolutely, yes, absolutely. That's what I was wondering. So, a user should start first by studying a front end technology like Angular, Next.js, or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
What should be the next step?
The next step, I think you need to you need to try to interact with the cryptocurrency like user. You need to use wallet because front end it's always you implement the user interface, and of course you need to know how to interact with this. So I think you need to try some maybe other games, other projects which integrated with blockchain, to understand the core concepts, how user can interact with the blockchain, how they can use cryptocurrency.
So basically, how information is stored, passed between your website and the blockchain. Is that
that's
the next step?
2.
So what would be the? Can you go a little bit more into detail into this first part? What do I mean? The step after. All right, I have Angular. I downloaded a template. I know more or less where to go from kind of moving the elements around the page. All right, now what's next?
Well, the next, if you're talking about Ethereum-based blockchains, I think the good choice is install MetaMask. Is try to connect to the testnet, because testnet is completely free things. You don't need to pay any charges and to buy something. You just need to gather some tokens, and you can start interact with this. So I know maybe you need to find certainly you need to understand how it looks in a block explorer. So you, for example, you create a transaction and you need to check how it looks in a block explorer, what kind of fields do you have there, and so on.
So basically, what you're telling me is you need to get familiar with blockchain, get MetaMask. So after you understood a little bit about React, get MetaMask, go to block explorer, research a little bit how blockchain works, how it integrates, and get a knowledge of actually how Web3 applications work before you dive into the next step, right? And
yes,
that's very good. That's very good advice. I think many people would skip this part. This part of kind of like, let me just see kind of how MetaMask works. Let me see what contract addresses there are, how it all is kind of connected. Yeah, awesome, cool.
Yeah, and only after this you can go to these technical things. It's good idea to open the Web3 documentation, find out how you can interact with this blockchain, which already it's not something strange to you. So it is things which you understand at least. And yeah, and it's a step number 3, and step number 4. It's a go directly to interact with the smart contract. So because it's not so it's not so big steps, because you interact with smart contracts through the Web3 API, through the Web3 library. But smart
Well,
contracts.
one step back for also me that I'm not sure about Web3. When you say interact with the Web3, that are you talking about the Ethereum blockchain? Are you talking about another blockchain, or are you talking about a web standard? I'm not really
Yes,
sure.
it's a good question, because currently we use this Web3 term for any kind of blockchains. But
Okay,
when I talking about Web3 library, I'm talking about Ethereum-based blockchains. So it
okay.
might be Ethereum, Binance, Polygon, and so on.
So how do I get a hold of this? I go to the Ethereum website. I download a toolkit like Hardhat. Uh, is there like a framework that I can start using? How do I interact with the Web3?
Hardhat, it's mostly for smart contract development. So
Hmm.
now we're speaking about front end side, but Hardhat, it's mostly for back end side. So yeah, I think you need just to Google Web3 JS documentation, Web3 JS libraries,
Okay.
and you can find this a lot of document. I think yeah, there is a lot of documentation where you can read about all these features and how we can use it. These examples. So
And a question popped into my head. I'm sorry I have to ask you this, but I think I missed to ask something very important that maybe I gave for granted, and that is, what is the difference between developing Web3 front end and developing Web3 backend?
yeah, it's a completely different things.
That's what I was
For
understanding as you were talking to me, because you were talking about smart contract development, and that you said backend, and then we were talking about still blockchain interaction while we're talking about the front end. So I was not sure if there is a difference, and now you're telling me there is a big difference. So that's super interesting. Can you elaborate, please?
yeah, so in this in Web2 development, the backend, it's a smart contract, and smart contract to write this, to create a smart contract, you need to learn Solidity language, for example. If you're talking about, again, if you're talking about Ethereum based blockchain. So, and I think you need to go slightly deeper to understand how this blockchains works internally. So what is the block, what the field it has, how many transactions, how the transactions how transaction created, how you need to sign into all these things. It's good to know before you start writing this code, because smart contracts is a program which work up on blockchain. So it's blockchain like a virtual machine which runs your smart contract. Additionally, there is a area in standards like Open Zeppelin library. It's good to know this library, good to read this documentation, because it has a lot of implementation and a lot of implementations, and you don't need to repeat it again. So and when you read this code, you can increase your skills, coding skills, because they really do it pretty good. So it's
Okay,
my
so
advice.
they created Led Zeppelin, basically. Led Zeppelin, what are they called?
That's
Open Zeppelin
Zeppelin's rock group, but Open
is
Zeppelin.
the rock group. Okay, open. All right, Open Zeppelin. They created a library of NFT contracts that developers can use as guidance or best standards for their development purposes. In
Exactly.
And then you said one other thing regarding the Ethereum virtual machine. Can you, before I ask maybe the question, can you explain what the Ethereum virtual machine is?
Um, it's a virtual machine, like a Java virtual machine, as I know. Python has virtual machine, Ruby, and so on. So many platforms implemented in such a way when you write code which runs inside this virtual space. So they, these virtual machines move.
It doesn't affect. I guess it doesn't affect your PC, right? It's you set up a virtual machine. It's a virtual machine for that, for whatever you're working on, and it lives on your computer like a server, something like that. I was imagine.
Kind of. It depends on. When you work in a public blockchain, which runs on the miner's computer, it doesn't affect your computer. So you just need to publish this transaction, and it will run on the other servers. But during the development of course, you run many times the smart contracts inside your machine, because virtual machine might be part of blockchain node or might be part of your development environment. That's why it's good idea to use virtual machine in this for such scenarios.
Okay. I have another question, but it's diverting from what we were talking about. Is there anything that we missed about maybe anything that somebody should consider or think about before becoming a Web 3.0 developer?
I think like any kind of the software development, so you need to like this idea to create software, and you need to start from Web 2 and then go to Web 3, because Web 3 is a kind of next step, next evolution of software development.
Because you can.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to say that it's mostly for front-end development. For back-end development, maybe it's good to have some core knowledge about software development, but you don't need to know a lot of. Because for creating smart contracts, you need to study new language.
So basically, bottom line is start with, like you said in the beginning, start with the Web 2 technology like React is going to allow you to create a web page, and then the next step would be to add concepts from blockchain. Start learning how the blockchain operates, how blocks are created, and the nitty-gritty. Install the tools, test it out, and then download WebJS and find different code snippets and integrate it inside of your application. If I were to say, how is this very hard? Is it easy? Is it medium? How long? What would you say? Is this extremely complicated, the Web3 development?
Oh, it's a difficult question for me, because I'm in IT industry for 15 years, and yeah, it's simple to say that it's very easy, but I think they're difficult to break these walls, also to do these first steps, try to understand, because blockchain, it's very a lot of myth about the blockchain, how it works. But just a few days ago, I surfing through the internet and read some papers, and these articles was very poor. So they explain, but very like a smoke. You cannot really understand.
Yes, a lot of description about what blockchain is, general, and not really about going into the detail of things. So what you're saying is that there is a lack of proper education that's missing.
Exactly. So yeah, a lot of information, but 90%, I think it's very bad, very bad information. So it's difficult to find good articles, and because you don't know, and you cannot compare it. Well, you be expert.
Good point. I was talking with another person in the Web 3.0 space, and they were telling me exactly the same thing, that they're actually an advocate for Web 3, and their job is to promote Web 3.0 content in Latin America. And they were saying that the biggest problem to Web 3.0 adoption is the lack of Web 3.0 content in the Spanish language. So developers, they can't really get into it because there is really no good content out there. I guess we are pioneers in this new technology, so soon is going to become a little bit more mainstream. I want to ask you one more thing. At uh, Win-Win Software, you guys work with different blockchain technologies. What kind of blockchain technology would you recommend for somebody starting a new project?
For the beginners, of course, Ethereum and Ethereum-based blockchains. I recommend, this area. But maybe there is somebody who develop game 3D games, and in this area, it's the more faster blockchains preferable. So in this area,
Mm.
blockchains like EOS.io, Vax, Ultra, Solana. It's
Polygon?
Polygon. Maybe I'm not sure.
Mm.
We will not work with Polygon a lot in game projects. So and
And
this, yeah. Let me finish. It's completely different blockchains comparing to Ethereum. So Ethereum, for example, for smart contract, you need to write code in Solidity. For Vax blockchain,
mm,
EOS blockchain, you need to know C++. So, but for guys who know C++, it's a good way to, I don't know, to increase the, to find new something new,
yes.
and find new positions and so on. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I was going to ask you, and I apologize for interrupting you all the time. But what you're talking about is super interesting, and I always have a new question that I feel like asking you, and that's exactly what I wanted to ask was, do you have to learn a new programming language for each blockchain, more or less, right? Well, not really, but each blockchain is written kind of in a different language, and you have to know kind of. Uh, do you have a favorite one?
Difficult question. Yeah, I like to write code in C++, and I like this idea to use Wasm virtual machine inside the blockchain instead of creating new one like it was in Ethereum. It was done. So yeah, so my preference is C++, and I like this fast blockchains because they provide really good interaction. So you can create games which based on turns, so people can fight with each other. Not in real time, of course, but turn by turn. But it's good, good step forward comparing to Bitcoin and then Ethereum, and now we have these possibilities.
Awesome. Valera, thank you so much for taking this time to tell everybody about becoming how to become a Web 3.0 developer and sharing your insight about blockchain and the topics that we discussed. This was very enlightening, very informative. I want to thank you again, and I also want to ask you one final thing or consideration. Do you have any advice or suggestion for anybody that would be wanting to become a Web 3.0 developer? Anything that maybe comes from your experience or from anything that comes to mind?
First of all, thank you for the questions and thank you for the invitation. The advice, I know, like always, I think you can reach the highest level only if you like what you do. So feel yourself and do what you really like to do. It's my advice.
That's the best advice that you could have given anybody. Exactly. Don't do it because of hype or
Yeah,
because you think
exactly.
it's cool or because you see a job position that could be getting paid a lot. Do it because you truly enjoy it and because it gives you the sense that you're creating something and satisfaction. So that's the best way to become a good in what you are doing. Valera, thank you one more time for being here with us. I want to thank everybody that is listening to us. I will share all of the information regarding Valera, how to reach out to him on LinkedIn if you have any question, or check out his website and what the work that they're doing. Should you need any blockchain help and support, they are the go-to guys. So thank you so much again. Thank you everybody for listening, and I will see you in the next show.
Thank you. Bye bye.